I hear Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists screaming inside my head. So all morning the bitch is like, if you keep making these videos, your friends are gonna think you're on drugs. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't smoke. The terrorists obviously are being investigated. They're obviously being investigated, and they don't want me to make it obvious. And it's obvious while they're conducting their wannabe fucking investigation, really what they're doing is laundering and laundering money, trafficking people, and murdering people barbarically, and using other people to commit those crimes and framing them, and using they're just as much victims as the people that get murdered. And these bitches are talking in my head. They don't want me saying it. I'm telling you, I've never done drugs. I will never do drugs. I am not suicidal in any way, shape, or form, but they keep telling me to go kill myself. They keep telling me, or they're gonna barbarically murder my daughter. And they're like, if you say that, you're going to ruin your daughter's reputation. People aren't going to want to be around you. Like, this is fucking crazy. They're playing a very dirty, psychotic game. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists, dude. These bitches, I want everyone to know, these bitches have kids. They want to murder people's kids. They're talking in my head. I want everyone to fucking know those bitches who are talking in my head, plotting to murder people's kids and frame their other people's kids and like all this. The terrorists talking in my head, they have fucking kids. Those bitches are fucking trash, dude. Fuck them and their kids. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists talking inside my fucking head. They're using a war weapon. They're talking inside my head. And the reason why we see the Beyoncés and all of them with the money, because they need a reason to pursue investigating these psychotic trash cans. So they're like laying it on super fucking thick on their lavish life and all the things that they're doing, and making sure to collect all the money, all these celebrities and all these like people that we see that we're like, dude, they have so much fucking like money and it's berserk. It's because there are laws pertaining to this weapon, and the terrorists were collecting money, and basically they were in I would assume this is like, these are all pretty educated guesses, that they had contracts with people who have some kind of entitlements to the records, and and providing some kind of service or something for them, so that it makes it harder to get their vote when it comes to like taking over these weapons or regulating them or having access to the records that are produced with this weapon. So they're Egyptian, having the government, our government, the U.S. government, and like people in Hollywood run around doing like literally going through, trying to jump through those hula hoops and doing cartwheels just to get their hands on these records, because they want to sentence the terrorists to death for all the crimes they're committing. They're after the terrorist talking in my head's organization of psychotic terrorists are the ones who murdered all of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims, and they used Jeffrey Dahmer as their person to commit all these crimes, the person that they trafficked and used like a robot. Swear to God. Like, they're barbarically murdering people, and they're still alive. They're talking in my fucking head. I don't like, it's obvious there are angels protecting me, because these stupid bitches, they don't want me around people who don't do drugs. They don't want me going to work. They don't want me at the gym. They don't want me shopping. They'll have a man hit on me everywhere I go, and then they'll make me gain weight, or they'll botch my body. Like, this is how crazy this is. I'm in my underwear. But I went and got a surgery done. And They completely destroyed the results to they botched my body and made sure that in every area, like they made sure, just like with my hair, okay, that nothing I have in my closet would flatter my body. And that I have no money to buy new clothes, so I don't look good in anything that I wear. I swear. The same thing with my hair. Every way that it flattered my face when I wore it up and my hair was thick, they would make sure to make the hair fall out in chunks so that I couldn't, like in those areas, so I could no longer pin it up that way. Or wear whatever way. I swear. Right now, they're constantly making hair fall out in this area because I pin this because it's the most, like, at least to me, the most feminine way. I don't like leaving it down. I look at it, I don't like it personally. So I pin it up a little bit. It gives it, for me, like a little more like a girlier look. And they're trying to thin this area, so I can't do it. Like, they want your hair to fall out, so you can't wear it anyway. So it looks bad no matter how you try to wear it. So I don't know what's protecting me from them just, like, bluntly, or what, I don't know the right word for this, but just murdering me. They're trying to traffic me into suicide. Like, what they want to do is make my life miserable, torture me, keep me away from doctors, keep me away from police, keep me away from anyone who's credible that can say, I didn't hear the voices Renee hears. Like, keep me away from the public's eye or any of the entities that are using this weapon that they're using to investigate these terrorists, so that they don't see me outside and say, nope, we saw her, she wasn't doing drugs. Like, they don't want anyone at all to see me. They want so badly for whoever's investigating them to see me on drugs so that they could laugh in their face. Like, that's what they're ultimately after, because the entities are ready to sentence them to death. And apparently they want I don't know if they get to destroy the records. I would assume so, because I need to die. So if I die, I guess they get to destroy the records. Because if I'm still here and let's say they left me alone, which I'm like, why can't you leave me alone? Apparently those records don't get destroyed. They remain for people to audit, I would assume. So they don't want that. So they're trying to refrain from the records not being destroyed. And anybody who needed to die or has to die, they've murdered or are planning to murder, to make sure all the records that have all of their crimes, I'm posting this to YouTube, that's fine, have died. That's what it seems like. It seems like that is the case. Dude, I want those bitches to die, on God. They don't want not one record of me, not a medical record, because and it's obvious, they're making it obvious. I guess when I die, they have to come forward with all my medical records, show police reports, like she was smoking, she was drinking, she was this, and then I'm sure the system checks itself to see, like, what's been posted, what medical conditions I have, like all the evidence it has to prove whether or not they're legitimate, their records are legitimate. And then I'm sure it goes through a process of, like, before they can just destroy the records. And I want to make sure that there's plenty of, I don't have anything for them to bring forward, so there's that. And then I want to make sure we count, like, there's so much to counter by posting this every single day as often as possible, that they're terrorists, they're murderers, they're murdering me and my kids, they're talking in my head, that there's enough to counter any possible reason to have them destroy or take ownership of the records and to be investigated. I mean, ultimately, I want them sentenced to death. These are psychopaths. These are Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists, dude. They're fucking psychotic trash. It's fuck the men. The men they're as psychotic as people want, as psychotic as much as they want. Like they're psychotic because the women are psychotic. That's why they're psychotic, because these women are actually fucking psychopaths and need to be sentenced to death the same way, and they're becoming more barbaric to protect the women, and the women are cheering it on. And then they have kids they want to give the money to, have them in, and it's not even an inheritance. They stole money from the U.S. They stole money from their victims. They abused and tortured and murdered people for this money that they're laundering or whatever you call it. And they want to hand it over to their kids when it belongs to the victims of all their crimes. And I find that criminal of their kids to take, and mind you, the bitch is talking in my head. Their parents, to get into this country, had to commit those crimes. And then when they opened the gates, I guess they followed people out here, Christians and Muslims alike, to commit these crimes. And they were able to disguise the records that they had with whoever they were following out here. And now their kids, excuse me again, they're making me throw up. Their kids are, he's trying to make it sound like I have the hiccups because I drink. I don't drink at all. I have had, maybe in my entire life, I've had 5 cups of, I've ordered alcohol on 5 different occasions and had one, like a cup or a glass. I'm sorry, it's called a glass. See, I don't drink. And even then I sip on it all night and I don't even finish it because I don't like the taste. So, like I said, like I was saying, what was I saying, dude? Oh yeah, they're kids, and the terrorists talking in my head are the kids of terrorists. He wanted to throw me off. Of their their parents were terrorists, still are terrorists, like barbarically murdering people still. And now their kids are talking in my head, and they're about my age, dude, or older. So we see how that stupid bullshit goes. I want to make it so clear. There are Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists in the state of California and several other states and across the country and across the UK that are using this weapon to torture victims to death. Mine just so happened to be in California with me. I can tell by their accent. They're just stupid, dude. I can tell by their accent. I can tell by they're just their personalities. They're total California raised stupid whore bags. Not to call Californians stupid whore bags, but you could just tell, like, this is like your ultimate, like, California, like, beyond, and this isn't high sedity, this is like highly psychotic. Okay? Like the sunshine makes this bitch high, and then she does cocaine. One of them. So, anyways, it's just like I was saying, they're talking in my head, they're retarding me. They made 90% of my hair fall out. I gotta go do another another biopsy. I've done 2 already. I could probably spread them out, but the thing is, I want the follicles still intact because they're trying so hard to burn and scratch the follicles and dry them out. I really, really, really need to oil my scalp. I'm gonna do that today. Fuck that. I need to oil my scalp because it'll keep them intact. They're trying to dry them out, scab them up, and have them so that way if I go do biopsies, there are no follicles for them to see. So there are no records that my hair fell out. But I took pictures, thank God. Like, oh my God. I took so many pictures and I keep posting them over and over and over again to Facebook and to everywhere. Facebook, to YouTube, wherever I can post pictures. To make it clear. Well, no, we're mainly on Facebook. I actually don't post anywhere else because I'm still trying to keep my professional image. And I don't think anybody is finding me like that. They're not looking for me. I don't think it would be in the best interest of anyone, not the government agencies or the terrorists talking in my head, because then it's like Renee's, it'll start a little frenzy, and the last thing they want is for me to get attention. And then for me to say I hear Egyptian American Muslim terrorists talking in my head. And then people just say, no, you're schizophrenic. Oh, and here's another thing. So I think there are certain conditions that give the U.S. permissions to the weapons. So schizophrenia, I think, is one of them. Schizophrenia, I think alopecia is another. Like any autoimmune disorder, or I think even diabetes, if I were to get diabetes or cancer while they're talking in my head, Alexa, stop. That the government gets access to the weapons because it's a medical because it's medical, they need it to help advance science. And so they want these records for that reason. So you have to say it, like I'm going in every time. Like right now, I went to the neurologist. I got an EEG. I'm gonna go do another MRI. I'm gonna eventually do another EEG. I'm gonna continue to take this very seriously till the day I die. I want there to be so much evidence, records of me going into the hospital, going to see doctors, to document everything that's going on with my brain, so that if there's a structural change, if there is any gray matter more than it was, I have trouble remembering. That's the reason why I sound so illiterate. I can't remember anything. So I read and I listen to podcasts. Well, I try. They scream over me when I'm listening to something, and when I'm reading, someone's literally erasing the things in my memory. Like someone can actually, not erasing it, but they basically block so it's like a little chain of signals that connect. So someone just stops it from connecting. Like they shock you. And they send this little fire, basically it's like this invisible fire to your brain, and it shocks that signal and it stops it from moving forward. And either I would assume it goes sporadic because it's fire. So it goes everywhere, and literally I'm confused, or I'll have blurred vision, or and they know exactly the amount of of radiation or whatever this signal is to send to your brain to blur your vision, to make you swell, to make you this, to make you that. Like, they know how to trigger it so that it targets certain areas to produce different symptoms. Sometimes I have stroke-like symptoms, concussion-like symptoms. I'll have, I mean, like I said, there'll be shooting pain down my arm. I'll have sensations like I'm gonna have a heart attack. I'll start having blurred vision. I'll start having slurred speech. My eyes will like, I'll get tired. I'll stutter. I'm stuttering now. It's just, this is crazy. What they're doing is fucking psychotic. It's like someone took a bat and literally hit you over the head with it, except there are no bruises that you can see. It's on my brain. I want them to die, you hear me? They're talking in my head. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. This is trafficking on a major fucking level. The women are criminals. I mean, that's the bottom line. And it's making the men even more psychotic. So who's really to blame here? If the men had this many feelings for them, then that means the women could have swayed them not into this life, this terrorist life that they're living for. And they're laughing because they go spend and they look like your average Joes. They'll walk into your Nordstroms and your Saks and your wherever, and they're buying the nicest things, and they're traveling the world, and they're doing all the stuff that we should be doing. And while their friends sit there and like traffic us, and when they come back from their vacation, they sit down to do the same thing to their victims, abuse them, torture them, drug them, rape them, like, and on top of the fact, they make you think you're living the life. Like, some of these people have no like desire. They think like, oh, I'm gonna have sex and I'm gonna just I mean, honestly, they took the porn industry to another level, but for a second there was like, that was the life. Like, got the biggest dick. Like, that's what they wanted these victims of theirs to believe. Now they're like, now these porn stars are traveling and they're buying things and buying assets and making it clear they're not just like in it for, they want ultimately to secure themselves. That's what they were doing it in the first place for. Like, they're not just hoes and hoeing it up. Not to say that I agree with prostitution. I'm just saying, you know what? With what's going on with these terrorists, like, it's so hard to judge people. Like, what the fuck? The only people that should be sentenced to death are the terrorists talking in my head. Anyways, yeah, so they're trying so hard to make it look like I'm on drugs. So they'll have me screaming. They'll have me in conversation. I'm not in a conversation with anyone, okay? I'm talking to the voices in my head, in my condo, and they'll be saying like, fuck you, your kids are fucking retarded. Ha ha, we thinned your hair. And they really did, so it hurts. Like, it cuts deep. So I respond like a normal person would, like, you're gonna fucking die, bitch. So can you imagine what it sounds like for my neighbors to hear me every day? And they're like, is she on the phone? Is she, so I want to make sure it's very clear. It's the terrorist talking in my head. And they're saying some seriously crazy shit. And I obviously don't want to kill my kids. Like, it's not me. If I'm saying I'm fighting it back, like I'm saying you're going to fucking die. You're going to get sentenced to death. Like, I don't have desire to do, it's not me. Is that a booger? No, it's like, I just want them to die, dude. This is crazy. And did I touch basis on like how badly they want to rape me? Everywhere I go, they have some losers. So I walked into this place, right? Let's be very clear. This was a while ago. I wasn't smoking like that, but on occasion I'll get a zero nicotine vape. I don't do it anymore because I want them sentenced to death. But I walk in and this guy like, I'm talking and I'm like, what are these polka dots and what is this? And oh, you guys can sell THC here, like this is a smoke shop. And they're like, oh, well, it's THCA or something, and these are mushrooms and whatever. And he's showing me all this stuff, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So, there was a guy in there already, and he's like, to be completely honest, I'm a coke guy myself, and then wants to get my number. So and then they have him like, it's like somebody who's like not successful, but someone who is like mediocre doing mediocre, and they want me to like go on dates with men like that. Like, are you serious? Like, no, my mom is doing far better than them. There's no way in fucking hell I would give up my single life to go be with someone who's doing less than my mom or my dad did. Like, are you stupid? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. On top of the fact that, and then it's like, or I'll go to TJ Maxx and then they'll have the register guy who I would never date in a million years say, hey, can I take you out on a date? So I can't go shopping. So I feel uncomfortable shopping there. Although I'm gonna go and I'm going to tell him, although I give him my number, I'm going to tell him I'm not interested. And then they had I went to 24-hour fitness. Again, they had two men chasing me, like trying to get my number, and I was uncomfortable because I don't want to say I hear voices in my head. So I just ignored their advances, and they did that. And then Fitness 19, it was like, let's just make her hair fall out so she gain weight and ruin her body and make her look stupid, so she doesn't want to go into Fitness 19. Still, I don't care. At this point, it's them, and I know it's them, and I'm just like, it is what it is. It hurts. It hurts. But I'm not going to let these bitches get away with this shit. So I go. This hurts, and it physically, they have mutilated my body, and on top of it, it's an emotional, like, it's emotionally abusive on another fucking level, dude. And then at work, they had this guy who hit on me from the gym we have a gym below us, hits on me, wants to take me out. Of course, I ignore his advances. They're thinking like I'm not going to go into work. And then when I go to the grocery store, they had the cashier hit on me, so that it's like so fucking obvious. It's them. It's the terrorists talking in my head, trafficking these people. They're trying to rape me. And then it's like, okay, maybe if she finally, like, she feels ugly enough and desperate enough and we hurt her feelings enough, she'll date one of these guys, something will happen and she'll feel uncomfortable to go back. Kind of like what they did when I was working with my friend Bishoy. And I was dating his friend Joe. Joe's now married and has I don't know if he has kids or one kid, but last I saw he was married and his wife was pregnant. But same thing there. Like it was right when I started to, like, they went really heavy on screaming in my head. And I had just started working with Bishoy. And then they had Joe hit on me. And I actually really did like Joe. And we went on several dates. But I was still, like, breaking up with another guy that I was not really in a relationship with, but we were still somewhat seeing each other. And I mean, it was already over. It was just, it had to be said. And so, I told Joe about it, and he was like, I don't want to even deal with that, and broke us up. And so I didn't feel comfortable. I was in a hotel because I got kicked out of my apartment for screaming at the voices in my head, thinking it was my neighbor talking through the wall. Okay. Literally screaming. I threw plates at the wall and dented the wall. The cops, they were like, Renee, there's something, like, you need to go seek medical attention, like, fast. And mind you, the terrorist talking in my head they patched up the wall. They made my family patch up the wall so that the cops wouldn't see and admit me into a hospital. Because what they're doing is they're hurting me, they're injuring me, and they're taking control of me, and they don't want there to be any admittance into the hospital, admitting, it's in the word that I have a medical condition. This is a medical condition. Someone's taking control of my brain and forcing me to do things against my will. And I can't stop them. So all they can do is strap me to a fucking bed until it's over. And there's records to provide that these terrorists are forcing it. And it has to be that type of admittance. It can't, it's obvious. Dude, the terrorists talking in my head are fucking sneaky little fucking trash. I want them to die. They wanted my family to disown me. Now they're trying to see if they can drain them of money using me as the pawn, while they retard me so I can't make enough money to help my kids. Knowing my son is gonna get, they don't want me to get loans for my son in my name because I can go write them off with this disability. So they're trying to ruin my education. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna call financial aid. Fuck that. I don't want to ruin it. Because I want to get a loan for my son. I want all the loans in my name because I can write them off. They want my mom to do it or my son to do it so they can ruin his credit. She's saying that bitch is really not joking at all. But mind you, the bitches talking in my head think they're mocking me and they're laughing about it and they're in conversation. And then the men talking in my head are grunting like they're listening to me make this video. They're listening to me talk and make this video, and they're laughing and they're making spitting sounds, and the women are chatting together like, this bitch is ridiculous. Like, she thinks that we're gonna fucking die. They're just talking in my head, dude.
I guess that means, have you tried rebooting?
While I'm making this video. They said they retarded my daughter. They're going to continue to retard my daughter. So because I had a lawsuit against the school. Oh, and by the way, before I move on, with that apartment, luckily we didn't get evicted because they were trying to ruin my mom's credit. Okay. And we cleaned the place out really nice for them. And we all apologized a million times. But yeah, they asked us to leave. The guy was like, please, it's I'm too disturbed. I was too erratic. I didn't know what was going on. And it was my favorite apartment, and it was in such a nice location. And anyways, so they didn't want me there. The terrorists wanted me, obviously, like I keep saying, out on the street. And then I ended up in a hotel, and of course that guy Joe broke up with me, and I was too embarrassed to go back to work because Joe and Bishoy are super fucking close, like best friends for years, like 10. I lost touch with Bishoy, so I don't take that priority in his life, and there was no way I was going to show up to work, and we weren't come, like, so the terrorists talking in my head, going back to that, the, like, in every place that they can find somebody to try and get me away from work, they'll do so. I swear. I'm 40 now. They've been doing it. So I was younger then. I was 33, and I was a little more intimidated, and I would get uncomfortable, and I was younger. I wasn't as bold as I am now. Now I really don't give a fuck. And and genuinely, I don't give a fuck about the terrorists or the barbaric things they've done. I want to slam those bitches' faces on fucking heads against the wall till I crack them open. I swear to God. They're fucking sick in the head. And I mean that in a very, like, in a like, I want to sentence them to death and publicly do that. I don't give a fuck about those bitches. Maybe with the weapon that they're using. Maybe line them up all against a wall. Have people behind the weapon controlling their minds, forcing them to stand there like dogs and fucking slamming their heads against the fucking wall, making them slam it against the wall themselves until they crack their fucking heads open. As a sentencing to death for what the fuck they've done, I swear. And really scare the people people from this weapon, like scare people off and make it clear this weapon's no fucking joke. If the majority gets a hold of you and you've committed a crime, you're gonna fucking slam your own head against the fucking wall till you crack it open. And use those bitches as the example. So anyways, moving on, I was too embarrassed, lost that job, and they just continue to do that shit. They're trying to rape me, like, I swear. And they're like, okay, if that's not going to work, well, just so you know, oh, Cedric is way out of your league. These are very attractive, like sexy, very successful, like, men, right? And they're like, he's so fucking out of your league, bitch. This was when my hair was thick. Like, I could have had a shot. He likes white girls though, but I think I could have had a shot. Like, I was not unattractive. I didn't look as old as I do now. That's for damn sure. The terrorists talking in my head for sure aged me. I mean, the injuries aged me for damn sure. And the hair loss and like the swelling of my face to stretch it and pull on this, and the dissolving of my Juvederm, and the draining my money, so I don't have, like, they're really fucking sick, and they're hoping that I'll eventually need love because they're constantly calling me a loser and a bitch. Like, I'm some kind of, like, really though. Like, I don't have kids, and I don't know how to be strong for them. They're fucking way out. They're these bitches are Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists that live in California. Honest to God, they need to somebody needs to take hold of these bitches and make them slam their own fucking heads against the wall until they fucking make sense. And then after that, crack their heads open for what they've done. Because no one fucking gives a shit about their I'm sorries. Yeah. Okay, so there's that. Here, so now to just finish that little segment of my life, I moved from the apartment in Foothill. Okay, they trafficked me out of there after 3 or 4 months of living there, into a hotel, and this is like a drug-infested, disgusting motel. I didn't know any better, so that's the only reason why I ended up over there. Over at that place. No, my family doesn't do drugs. Nobody knew what, like, that was a drug infested motel. But it was right around the corner. I end up booking a room there for a month and a half, and I stay there until we find me another apartment. We find me one in Lake Forest. We sign the lease for 6 months. My mom wasn't so, like, she didn't want to run to sign another lease because she was afraid of, her credit getting ruined. And on top of the fact the interest rates were dropping, so she was interested in buying property and wanted to put me in one of the condos. Because they all were like, she has psychosis, she's sick. They've never seen me like that before. I was blaming everyone and everything and saying, thinking that the cops were investigating me. And then my mom ends up getting another apartment, right? And I end up moving there. And for a month and a half, I barricade myself I refused to even look out the window or look at people. I was so scared. Because at that point, the terrorists made it obvious that they're talking inside my head, because too many people at this point were witnessing that I was hearing voices in my head, and they didn't want to make such a scene. So they wanted to be clear that I was hearing people in my head after they had isolated me and trafficked everybody out of my life. And it was like, okay, we fucked up all her communities, and we isolated her. Now let's really fucking hone in on abusing Renee. And at that point is when my hair started falling out a little bit. But that's when they were like, okay, your hair is going to start falling out at some point, and you're going to gain weight, and you're going to this, and you'll be this, and you'll be that, and whatever. And so, I barricaded myself, like I said, in my apartment. They're playing with my head. In my apartment for it was a month and a half. Wouldn't even see my kids. Wouldn't call. Wouldn't text. Wouldn't anything. And they wanted and then I was texting all my cousins all at the same time, and everybody who thought I was crazy. They wanted my family to think I was on drugs. And I wasn't. And the cops came to my house. Luckily, the cops came so many times to my apartment that it was obvious. They could have taken me in if I was really on drugs or overdosed or so out of my mind. They would have taken me in to she still opened it. To detox me. But I was never on drugs. And shortly after my stay, I didn't work at all while I was I worked slightly. I think towards the tail end of Lake Forest, I started working with my Uncle Albert. And he was like, come on, baby, come, let's get you back into a routine. They were being so gentle with me, my family. And, I got a place for you. I got leads. I got whatever you need. Come to work. So I was like, okay, I'll go work with my uncle then. Interest rates, and mind you, the bitches talking in my head were trying to drag it out because the interest rates had dropped to 2%, and they knew I was studying when I was working with my Uncle Alfred. My entire family, all my friends are all in real estate. So at that time, the interest rates had dropped, and they were trying to drag it out so that I could not work at all. To make any decent money until the tail end of it, so that I couldn't get Social Security. So the terrorists figured, okay, well, it's a good time to let her work, because if we let her work, this is how much they're thinking about me, how they've done, and how they sat there to determine how they're going to destroy my life. Okay, well, the interest rates are dropping. Imagine someone's talking about you this way. Or they're starting to climb back up. Why don't we, have Renee work with her uncle for the tail end of it, so she can't get Social Security or welfare or any of the government assistance to help her family. And then we'll make her feel ugly or fat, and we'll have her spending her money on phentermine to try to drop the weight while we sit here and keep her at like, I was like 155. I wanted to drop weight to down to 145. And it was like I was struggling, and I would take phentermine, and I would work out every day, run, eat healthy, and I couldn't drop for the life of me. And it was like, okay, well, haha, now you're feeling tired. Like, why don't you take another one, bitch? Why don't you, like, the terrorists talking in my head they were really fucking like, this is sickening, while I was trying to work. And so it was like, okay, now she can't get government assistance. Now she can't get Medi-Cal. We can make her hair fall out. I swear. And then they made me forget to file one of my taxes so that I would owe 10 grand later when I didn't have the money. Luckily, the following year, the tax, they were like, they're planning all this. Like, oh, her son will turn 18. She won't get as much taxes. We'll fuck up her credit. We'll fuck up this. This is how much they are planning to torture me and abuse me and sabotage me. Like, okay, and by the time the IRS, like, that's how sophisticated the weapon is. Like, they can tell it, like, okay, just like you do ChatGPT, this is Renee's life. We want to make sure we ruin her credit. We want to ruin her, like, they can program it to say that. Like, to do just that. Ruin her credit, ruin this, ruin that, ruin that. Like, what could we do? And so it will shock my mind. It will make me forget things. It will make me, so it lines things up so that it ruins all of these areas in my life. And they were saying like, oh, well, her son will turn 18. She won't get as much tax return back because that child tax credit will only apply to for her daughter, and she won't be able to pay back the money that she owes for the 10 grand. And then she'll have to make payments on the difference, and we'll make her like we'll make her hair fall out, we'll make her teeth fall out, we'll chip her teeth, we'll make her swell, we'll make sure that she's not marketable, so she's not comfortable making videos, which I'm actually not comfortable, because they retard me while I'm making videos. They play with my face. So now it's just I put out content and I feel more comfortable in person. I'll just go meet people, and if they play with my head, they play with my head. But at this point, it's obvious I'm trying and I'm not doing drugs. And I want, like, anybody who's investigating them may feel like, okay, we want to see what was going on with her head, because it doesn't make sense. She was in real estate that long, or going to church that long, or doing this for that long, and she didn't advance at all. Like, I want it to be obvious that they're playing with my fucking head. So anyways, from that apartment, my mom bought 2 condos, moving on with this long ass psychotic, like, the psychoness that these terrorists are, and all my experience with what they've been doing to me. So from that apartment, he's playing with my head, I was somewhat working with my uncle, and then my mom said, Renee, I got 2 condos, you're gonna get the bigger one, sweetheart. My mom was so fucking sweet. Mind you, the terrorists, at that time, the house was being rented, and so both condos were being paid, which means my mom's money wasn't being depleted, which is what the terrorists really want, is that they want to deplete my mom's accounts, and they don't want me living with her. They want me out on the streets. So eventually the renter for the house didn't want to rent, and my mom, he moved out. Actually, he just left and didn't say anything. And so my mom was like, okay, well, she decided to stay at her house, because we all, for the holidays and stuff, we're all there. So she figured it's better, and my mom just is particular. She likes the bigger, who doesn't, right? I wouldn't say that's them completely. I think it's a combination of the two, so it works out for them, the terrorists. So she's now living in the house, but that means none of the 2 condos have to be rented, and I'm not working, or I'm not making enough to sustain the overhead of having this condo, and the terrorists are playing with my head, retarding me. So they wanted me to make just enough to not qualify for government assistance while I was working with Albert, but more than, but not enough to sustain paying my bills to help my mom. And they're constantly retarding me. So I ended up, they put in my head like, oh, because there's nobody that could hear me screaming, right? And like they wanted to embarrass me and have me leave the condo and then go live with my mom. And then eventually me and my mom will argue because she can't take my screaming because the terrorists keep abusing me. And then they thought that they were going to sit there and say, oh, they're going to put you in a mental hospital. They're going to put you in a mental hospital to scare me out of like what my body naturally wants to do, which is scream. And my mom has like major post-traumatic stress disorder. My dad had 5 heart attacks. I was erratic, like she's tired. My sister has had thyroid disease, almost went blind. Like my mom has post-traumatic stress disorder. Like really needs a calm environment. And so they figured, oh, we'll just make Renee want to lose her marbles while she's with her mom, and then try to tell her, haha, your kids will get taken if you say anything, get the fuck out of your mom's house type deal. Like these bitches are really fucking out of their fucking minds after making my hair fall out while I was working. And okay, so I move into that big condo. They have me, they start to stir me up because nobody hears me. My mom's paying. I'm working with Albert. I'm making I'm making some decent money. And then but they put in my head because they couldn't really get me off of my schedule, right? So, and they wanted me out, like they want me out on the street. So they were like, well, why don't you go into the small condo because your mom, we're draining her money. And I thought, my kids are with their dad primarily. Why don't I go move into the smaller condo? So I ended up moving into the smaller condo. And to save my mom some money, while I was working here, they wanted me to go run to work, not look for government assistance at all, not look for Social Security. They just wanted me to spin my wheels and then have everybody looking at me like, why aren't you look normal? Why can't you fucking function, like make money? And then they wanted it, like the things that they were doing, they wanted me to pay for phentermine and look irresponsible because I wasn't dropping the weight and look like I'm spending on my cosmetics and then at the same time still not producing and just they wanted me spinning my wheels so that everyone would give up on me and think that I was being irresponsible. So, and then on top of it, they have me, so I moved into this condo. I'm here, they're playing with my head. Now I moved into the small condo, which I'm still here. I've been here for about 3 years now. And they have me screaming at the top of my fucking lungs. Okay. I broke 2 mirrors. They wanted me to, I can't remember what else I broke. I took pictures of it. I broke 2 mirrors and then something else. And because I literally couldn't resist what they were doing. They had me bang on my mirror till I broke it. Because the terrorists didn't want me to get dressed up and go to work. They don't want me looking like I'm trying. They don't want me looking in the mirror because you can see through my eyes with the weapon that they're using. So they want you to have no way at all of proving that they're using this weapon. They don't want there to be any type of record at all to provide the evidence that they can see through my eyes. because if I'm just walking the streets, okay, it's, who's to say if it's my eyes or someone taking a camera and it just, making it look that way. But if I'm in the mirror, it's a little different. Now you can see me looking in the mirror. It's like, that's a little weird. And no camera, you can see there's no camera, there's no nothing going on. So the terrorists they didn't want me in the mirror. They don't want me in the mirror. They had me breaking my mirrors. Oh, I broke my closet door mirror. That's what I broke. I broke that, and I broke two of these. And I ended up finding a government assistant, and I was like, these bitches really don't want me to get government assistance. They don't want me going to work. They don't want me. So I started looking for assistance, and a Section 8, while I was here, I was like, okay, interest rates dropped. Let me go apply for EDD. They put that in my head, like, let's go have her apply for EDD, go get her body done, botch her work, deplete her EDD account, okay? And then have her go apply for Social Security, have her make more than the money that they allow, but not enough money to fix her botched work. And then we'll have her, her bills pile up. And at that point we'll, keep her in this, like, they want to traffic me into this area, to this space. Like, haha, raggedy bitch. And now they're calling me a raggedy bitch in my fucking head. Like, if you go do your body and you don't fucking pay for your daughter's tutoring, because I went and I got so when I moved in here, so they're playing with my head. That's why I'm stuttering. When I moved in here, I ended up applying for EDD. I figured, okay, well, I'll go get my body done. I'll do this. And when I got my body done, mind you, like, chunks of my hair, more so. So my hair started falling out when I started working with Albert at the other condo. But when I moved in here and I was working out, I had lost the most weight that I had. I was the thinnest I had ever been. I was looking great. My hair, despite thinning, I was managing to still make it look very nice, like it looked nice. I still looked really attractive. I was getting a lot of attention. Not people that these terrorists were trafficking to try to steer me away from these places. I was actually getting attention from men. And they saw me, like, on my routine, going to the gym, getting up early. I'd be at work between like 10 and 11 o'clock. And then I was like, okay, work is slow. What I'll do is I'll start applying for Social Security. So I got on EDD. And I said, okay, I'll do my body. I'll fix it up, because I was already feeling confident. And I was like, okay, well, what's a little cosmetic procedure? Oh, it's only going to enhance my looks. At that point, it was like my hair started they made my hair start pouring out, like falling out by the chunks. And I want to rewind really quick. So while I was working and making some, like, decent money, I made about $50 for the year, which is decent. I could have made so much more if they weren't playing with my head. But they were burning my scalp right here, like right around here, right? And I could feel it. And I would be on the phone making cold calls, and when someone would pick up the phone and give me their attention so that I can discuss, the loan programs and interest rates, they would start burning my scalp, so I would choke up on the phone and sound insecure so that they could ruin my transactions. And then if somebody at work were to ask me any questions about any particular programs that I was working on, they would play with my mind so I couldn't remember, or so I sounded insecure, or so I gave them misinformation, so that they wouldn't want to come back to me. Especially, there was this guy named Carlos who's doing really well now. They didn't want him working with me. Like, they were afraid he was going to find me attractive and confident and want me on his team and try to recruit me. And they didn't want that. So and they knew that he was going to go off on his own and venture and do fairly well for himself. So they didn't want me on his team, or for me to create a team of my own and have somebody like Carlos on my team. So they would sit there, play with my head, retard me, make my hair fall out. This was before the surgery. So after that phase of like when the interest rates were really low and things started to escalate and the market was shifting, I decided to go on EDD. That's when I got my body done. I was still working out. I was still, I would still go into the office, but just not as much. I was trying to get Social Security. I was seeking medical attention. I was going to see doctor after doctor, neurologist. I was like, okay, I'm going to take this year to really just go see doctors, go seek medical, attention for these voices I'm hearing. Maybe some therapy will help, although I know there are terrorists talking in my head. But I was like, a little therapy will help. It'll help relieve my family from having to hear me discuss it, and look at me crazy. This will be all confidential. I can discuss them. But at this point, I don't even want things confidential because the terrorists talking in my head they can, like, I don't know what they can produce or like what they can, like, it's private. So I want them investigated. So I don't want this to be confidential. I want people who are investigating these terrorists to have tangible evidence to prosecute these whorebags. Like, I want them to start investigating them to prosecute them. So now I'm coming public with it. Before I was like, okay, well, I'll just go seek medical attention, which was great for me because it helped me get my Social Security. I took that year off to do all that I needed to do for that. I ended up getting Social Security. They didn't think I was going to get it. They thought I was going to sit on my ass, but I ended up going. They were like, oh, this stupid bitch. Luckily, I went into the mental hospital. I told them what I'm hearing. I told them that what's going on with me. They checked me in, and that basically sealed the deal for my Social Security. The terrorists talking in my head, so now that I have Social Security and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go apply for a housing agency. A couple of them, actually 3 of them, reached out to me. One needs proof of residency, which I can't prove. And the other one, Albaline, I sent them accommodations that I wanted to do over the phone. They still haven't gone back to me. And the third one, Del Rio, they did do an interview with me over the phone, but now the terrorists talking in my head want me to make money so that I can't qualify for the Section 8. So now they have me at work and they have people like, now they're basically trying to, he's playing with my head right now. So it's like I'll get calls and I just feel like it's the terrorists talking in my head. To refinance. They want to refinance, which is great for me. I want the money, but at the same time, I don't know when they're going to play with my head and when they're not. And for me, with government assistance, like, they can play with my head all day. At least I'll have some security. And that's like, between my Social Security and if I get the Section 8, I'm making about $4,000 a month, close to, not quite. And that's almost like what people are making, like, legit. And if I make any extra money on top of that, I can save it. And there are programs, and with Section 8 especially, as long as I have this disability, which it is, they're disabling me, I can sustain the Section 8 for as long as I live. So, the terrorists talking in my head, they're trying to find ways to disqualify me for the program and disqualify me for Social Security. So they're trying to get me into work after they botched my body, and they're laughing like, haha, you're going to have to report this. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do that. And at the same time, like, they had my ex-husband, not my husband. We're not married. We haven't been married in over 10 years. his car is like at it on its last limb. And then on top of the fact, they kept choking my car. My mom put 20 grand down on a Mercedes. Okay, and they kept choking the engine, and then I turned my Volkswagen in, which was another 10, so we were left with 10K on the car. And my mom was financing the rest of the money, and she's been making payments on that car. They kept choking that car until the day after the manufacturing warranty went out. Luckily, I encountered this gentleman who, I was dating this guy who was selling used cars and would buy things from the auction and wherever. And anyways, we met this gentleman who had his car, and he had like a stack of all of his maintenance. And he was like, whenever you have a car, like, you have to make sure you keep all your records and what have you. And so, I kept all of my, like, the first time my car choked, I went and I took it straight to Mercedes, and I collected all these records, so that, you know, I mean, I didn't know what to do with them, because I'm literally like, I'm so dumb, because the terrorists, they trafficked me into doing nothing. Like, I was sitting at home literally twiddling my thumbs, and they're retarding me all day long. So I didn't know about the lemon law. I didn't know anything. I was just collecting records, just in hopes that, hey, if I ever have to sell this car, they know that I did a good job maintaining the vehicle. And so, uh, um, anyways, the day after the manufacturing warranty was up, the car just stops working. The gasket blows out, and I'm like, what the? I can't afford this. And I go to my mechanic, and I had to pay for it, but I was like, what am I gonna do about this car? And they're laughing in my head like, you fucking bitch, haha, your car's gonna, and as I'm saying like something, and I'm scrolling through Instagram, this ad comes up like, if you have a lemon, give us a call. And I was like, what? I'm calling them right now. So I call them, and while I'm calling them, I'm submitting all my, the terrorists are retarding me, trying to scream in my head, trying to make me forget to submit my paperwork, like literally trying to drag me away from what I'm trying to do with the weapon. Like, someone's taking control of me physically, my body, and almost like keeping me in this straitjacket, trying to get me from doing what I need to do. So I'm like kind of like forcing myself, going against this, like this, whatever it is this weapon is, and I'm like forcing myself to do things even though I was tired. Like, they were making me tired, they were confusing me, they were doing all this stuff. So I ended up submitting the paperwork in, luckily, and I got a settlement for $42K. It's supposed to be surrendering my car pretty soon. And the terrorists talking in my head, of course they were anticipating that I was going to get a new car, which I am, but they were laughing because now I know about the lemon law, and now I'm like, okay, if you bitches do it again, I'm just going to do exactly what the fuck I did this time. I'm going to collect all the records. And so they're like, well, we'll just wait till your fucking till your manufacturing warranty is up, stupid bitch, and then after it's up, we'll start choking your car then, and you won't have anything. So I'm like, okay, they're playing this dirty game, like, okay, and then how's your daughter gonna get around? And they're trying to ruin my education, trying to see if they can, they're trying to see if they can ruin my financial aid, so I can't get money to get my daughter a car. So, like, they're trying so hard to deplete us from having anything. And forcing it to come out of my mom's retirement because they know she'll pay for it. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. I swear to God. Anyways, so I'm now trying to go to work. I'm scheduling a surgery to fix. I have a I have a surgery actually scheduled. He's playing with my head. They're retarding me. To fix my body. And I my daughter's calling me because the terrorists see I'm stuttering and now she's calling me, so something must have happened to Michael's car again. And then yesterday, mind you, she calls me and she's like, Dad doesn't have any food. Her dad is on Social Security. They retarded him. They gave him brain damage with this weapon that they're using. And basically he's living off like barely $1,200 a month. And he can't afford a car. He can't afford anything. And my daughter's saying, Mom, I don't have food in the refrigerator. Can you help me? Can you buy Dad groceries? Like Michael is completely handicapped. And so, I'm sitting here and and then on top of the fact, the women talking in my head are telling me to go fucking kill myself. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists talking in my head, telling me to go kill myself and wanting my mom to use all her retirement money on my kids and nothing left for my sisters. And like, they have this, like, they're trying to break my entire family down all at once. Dude, I want them sentenced to fucking death. This is fucking crazy. Anyways, I gotta get going anyway. There's so much to this, and I can go on for days. But that was kind of like a rundown of the last 7 years in a what's that saying? She's playing with my head. Whatever. That was the rundown of the last 7 years. I left out a lot of details though, and I'm sure I'll get back to it. But yeah, I mean, they're trying to traffic me into homelessness, and they want me on drugs and away from credible people, which isn't going to happen because I don't do drugs. So I'm not like, I'm going to continue to go to church and be around whoever I need to be around. In order to make it clear, I don't do drugs. And I'm not running from these terrorists. I want to sentence them to death. He said, I want to slit your fucking throat. I want them to fucking die. You hear me? They're fucking terrorists talking in my head. If I die, I want to make sure that I am the reason why their entire fucking family gets put down like dogs. And I'm not fucking, I want to make sure. He's like, I want to slit your throats. He's talking in my head. He's trying to force the words out of my mouth. I want them all to die. The women, their men, their kids, all of them. They're all fucking psychotic trash. And now he's like pulling on my face. And anyways, I gotta go. It's been an hour and 15 minutes. Yeah, I'll be making more videos like this to explain what's going on with me on a daily basis. Probably recapping on things that I missed in this video. Touch basis on things that, incidents that occurred. And one of which I wanted to bring up, but I'm not going to do it now, is that they keyed my car. The terrorists they keyed my Mercedes that I have now, and I don't know who keyed it. And they had my ex key my last car, which I kept in impeccable shape until it literally kerplunked on me, because they did. If I had known what I know now about the Mercedes, I would have got money settlement for that car. Because they were playing with the Volkswagen when I first got it. My dad dropped $26,000 on that car and paid for it cash, so that because he was afraid that he would die and there would be a payment. He didn't want to leave my mom or me with the payment on the cars. So He paid for it cash. And the whole time the car would choke, and I felt it. And I thought to myself, and I would think to myself, God, this car doesn't like ride smoothly. I wish I had known about the lemon. I wish I had known how to handle myself, because I would have done things much differently. I ended up getting this Mercedes. I could have put the entire amount down between, like, the difference. My mom could have put down less on the car, and I would have got the settlement for the Volkswagen, because it was like the 5th year right after the manufacturing warranty went up, and it literally stopped on me in the middle of the street and wouldn't turn back on. So like this is the same rundown. They're doing it over and over again. Then they trafficked my son. We had 2 spare cars. We had 2 Infinities, and they trafficked my son into a car accident. Okay. And so now we have only one, so that my sister has to rent a vehicle when she's here from Chicago, draining my family more of their finances. I swear. These bitches, they're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. I want those bitches in caskets. I'm not fucking playing. I want them to fucking die. On God, I'm done talking. Everything, any talking I do is going to be because I want to it's to sentence them to death. I want the bitches to die. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. They are barbarically murdering me and my kids. This is barbaric. I want them to fucking die on everything I fucking love. There's nothing on this goddamn planet that's going to stop me from explaining what I'm going through. Yes, baby. Yes, mommy. She put out her paw to get my attention. Yes, my love. Yes, baby. I love you too. It's so cute. Okay. So, yeah. That's almost everything. I know there's a lot more. There is a lot more, but that's the bulk of it. I want terrorists, like in a what's that saying? She's like, she keeps saying it in my head, and they're playing with my memory. But yeah, it basically that's it in a nutshell. But there's so much more. I want the bitches to die. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. I want them sentenced to death. I'm not going to stop till I put them in caskets. I'm not fucking playing. These bitches are fucking trash. They're serial killers. They murdered my friend Bernadette. And this is how I want to end this video, so everyone knows. With the weapon, they murdered my friend Bernadette. They drugged her. They raped her. They dragged her through the mud. They defamed all the men that encountered Bernadette. They murdered her. They literally murdered her. They turned her family against her. They depleted her from any assets and gave her a heart attack, had her die on the spot, curled up in fetus position on the floor in her apartment. And what's so funny is, like, she must have just dropped dead, because she didn't reach for the phone to say, like, I don't feel good, to call her family. So, and then when she didn't call for a few days, her mom, why do you want to bite me? Why do you want to bite me? Okay, mama, okay. When she didn't call for a few days, her mom was concerned. So she called Berna and didn't get a response back. And then when Berna didn't respond to her calls, she sent her sister to go find her, and they found her dead in fetus position on the floor of her room where she rents, or the apartment where she rents, in her room. And the door was locked, so nobody could go into the room, because they didn't want anybody to find her until she was decomposed. Literally, it was like 4 or 5 days later. Maybe more. They murdered Bernadette. They murdered my dad. They gave him several heart attacks. Like I said, like they're doing with me, they didn't want him working. They gave him 5 heart attacks, 27 stents in his heart, herniated 3 discs. And he would drag his feet and go to work, I swear, and paid off our house. He could have made so much more money. Okay, enough. She keeps biting me. No. No, mommy. She wants attention. No, you're not going outside. No. Oh, she likes to play outside. No, I'm sorry. Come here. Come on. Come here. I'm not mad. Come here. Come here. Come on, Mika. It's okay. Come on. I'm not going to hurt you. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here, Mama. It's okay. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. I know you want to come here. You're scared now? Because Mommy almost spanked you. Come here. Come here, Sissy. Hi, baby. I say, come here, Mika, and you come. Oh, my God. Come here, Mika. Come on. So, no, I don't have treats for you right now. Yeah, they murdered my dad. They didn't want him going to work. They murdered Bernadette. They dragged her through the mud, defamed her. At least they didn't defame my dad. Like, that's the one reason I think I'm not so, like, I'm devastated, mind you, but it's not nearly as bad as what they did to Berna. Like, my dad, it is as bad as what they did to Berna, but, I guess I just don't know. Like, defaming someone's name to me on top of, like, the abuse is, like, on another level, I think. Because Berna was a 4.6 student. She was gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous, and, like, smile that lit up the fucking room. And these terrorists, like, they abused and tortured her to fucking death. And she had such a big personality. And so, murdered her, murdered CK, CJ, Thomas, Jerry. These are all people they've defamed, or they tortured or abused to death using this weapon, making them sick. They're making Jackie, my sister, sick. They gave her Graves' eye disease. They damaged her pancreas. They gave her thyroid disease. Her thyroid went out. They made her hair fall out. They made my mom's hair fall out. They murdered to make my mom less attractive. Of course, they're hurting my mom. They murdered CK, CJ, Thomas, Jerry, Mark and Jacob Iskander, Daniel Atkins, the girl that was with him. They murdered Dilo, Le'Veon, Shadi, Kiro. They murdered, Kiro was found, like, in his vomit, laying in bed in Michigan at school. They didn't want him going to school, apparently. Jerry drowned himself. And then they took Daniel Atkins, laid him down on the train track, gave him a heart attack, suffocated him, whatever they did to murder him, and then had the train run his body over. Amina and Sarah Sowd, we all know what happened there. They got shot. And then they sentenced their dad to life in prison, which, technically speaking, if they have hold of the terrorists have hold of a victim like that, it's probably best that they're contained until they have all the records and they can prosecute these terrorists. I would assume that would probably be the best thing, because if that person's out on the loose, they can do it again. The terrorists can use them again to commit more crimes and get away with more barbaric shit. So the government isn't doing anything that they shouldn't do. They're doing exactly what they have to do to sentence these terrorists to death. Unfortunately, it's destroying people's lives, but these bitches are playing a really dirty fucking, like, low down game. These are the filthiest whore bags on the face of the fucking planet, dude. These are the filthiest bitches on the fucking planet. They need to be sentenced to death. They are Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. No woman on this planet would agree to sleep with any of those men, and they all know it, and that's why they're fighting so hard for their terrorist friends' sisters, because they're the only whores on this planet. These bitches are actual fucking psychotic, trashy whore bags. No one else on this planet will accept these piece of shits for what they will never. And they know it. They die out. These bitches are giving birth to them and then raising more terrorists. They're fucking filthy. The bitches are filthy. They also murdered a kid in Tesoro. I think he hung himself. They hung him, but they made it look like he hung himself. They used the weapon. I mean, he did it himself, but they played with his head. Like, they took control of his head and they had him wrap the rope around his throat and hang himself with the weapon that they're using. And they did that to Heidi's old boss's husband. I don't know if he shot himself. I think she went into the bathroom and found him shot, and he shot himself in the head. They had Twitch do the same thing. He went to embarrass him and his wife, had him sleep with some hooker, and then he went and shot himself. Like, dude, come on now. Like, who else would want someone to die like that? Other than the terrorists talking in my fucking head. And they have a real problem with African Americans. They have a serious, because it's the African American community in Hollywood that is like pursuing sentencing them to death. They are actively like doing everything and putting all money towards sentencing these bitches to death. It's clear. And then they're laying it on thick, and they're making it. They are straight fucking gangsters. These are not like Beyonce, Jay-Z. These are not your average Joes. They will blow these fucking bitches tops off, like, without a doubt, after what they know about what they've been doing with this weapon. So, yeah. Who else did they murder? They murdered, my sister found some guy that was hit by a car or in a car accident, dead on the freeway. This guy that jumped off of the freeway on the 55 while I was with Jonathan, committed suicide. I'm 100% like anything that I've encountered, or anybody that I've encountered that has died, or that I've seen die, I have a feeling has to be the terrorist talking in my head, because it was like, it's just too, like, I was like the center point, like where all of it was being reported or something. Like, I was the person people were reporting to say so-and-so is like that, the work is done kind of deal. Like, I don't know. What else? Who else died? Kobe Bryant, who was Vanessa's best friend, was our girl from my church. Her name was Christina Henna. And now him and his daughter are dead. Aaliyah, my cousins were in her video. Now she's dead. Florence Joyner Jr., I met her nephew 10 days, within like a month after meeting her nephew. She ends up having a sudden heart attack and dying on the spot. Lived in Canyon Crest where we lived. Who else? Just so many more. There's so many. The terrorists murdered so many people. They're talking in my head. I want them to fucking die. You hear me? They're dreaming. They're dreaming. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. They think if they murder me, okay, and they can traffic me, they're going to get away with what they've committed, as if other people don't know that they've committed these crimes. Like, they're so fucking, the bitches are so burnt. I think what they're thinking is, at that point, if they are able to clear certain records, mine included, and get them destroyed or whatever they do with them, take ownership of them or whatever they do. 100% they destroy. Like, why in the hell would you keep the evidence of your crimes? They get to keep the money that they've laundered, and then they turn around and they put it towards certain like social securities and things like that, so that they can say they were contributors, and now they can legitimately be behind the weapon without having to commit the crime. But they had to commit the crime to get there, to make that money. And now it's like, but if you're of a certain like financial status, I think you just automatically get those permissions, is what it seems like, certain clearances. And so they're trying to get to that point, and it's just like, it's fucking disgusting. They're fucking trash. The government is refusing to let them get to those clearances. They want to slaughter those whorebags. And I don't fucking, and I'm going to do everything and anything in my power to give them as much tangible evidence to sentence these bitches to death. I am being very clear that what I'm hearing is voices in my head. They're terrorists talking inside of my head that are not within my surroundings. I cannot capture them on a camera. No one else hears them. They are not here physically in talking from behind a wall. Okay, they are not outside. They are not within proximity. And it's because if the terrorists were, or anybody, like any of them were, it would be a conflict of interest. Like for them to first to conduct the investigation, because now they're a part of the crime, and then at the same time, they're part of an actual crime, because if they're outside screaming, and it would give basically anything that provides evidence that there was a crime going on would give permissions to give the government interest in these records, because this is the U.S. We're in the United States boundaries. So, these crimes aren't being, like, it's not happening outside. They're just creating this illusion. Because apparently if the records were to have to remain, they want it to sound like it was coming from outside. So there are layers of like how they're trying to protect themselves from being convicted. But they're talking in my head. These bitches are trafficking me. I want them to fucking die. You hear me? They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. I want the bitches to die. I want the bitches to die. I'm talking in the mirror. I want those bitches to die. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. I want those bitches to die. He's like, you're fucking ugly. Like, I'm going to go run outside and go sleep with someone to prove to him that I'm pretty. Like, get the fuck out. These bitches are fucking out of their fucking psychotic minds. I want the piece of shit to watch the women get sentenced to death. Because he was like, our women are better than yours. You bitches. Fuck you, bald bitches. And then I go to the Arabic store. Like, this is off subject. I go to, there's this Middle Eastern grocery store, Mission Market. Every one of them, okay, they have made their hair thin. Every single one of them they've made their hair thin. Natalie, Bernadette's sister, I mean, like my mom, you can see her scalp. They thinned her hair. They made her hair fall out. I go to the store everywhere. Now I'm like really paying attention so that when I'm out in public, I know now who they sat there and burned their scalp to make their hair fall out. Like, I can just tell. Like, women will have like bald spots like right here, and then the women talking in my head were like, they were saying, crowning, we'll just crown them, meaning they'll show the crown of their heads by thinning their hair. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. These are injuries. These bitches, it's like someone ripped your hair out of your head. They're psychopaths. These are aggressive, psychotic trash that are so filthy they don't trust anyone, so they cannot, of course, they can't be forgiven for the crimes they've committed. And if they were you, it would still be so hard for them to trust that anybody would forgive them, and that anybody could feel that they would feel that like there's no way, they're too filthy. These bitches are always going to be guarded. I want them sentenced to death. You hear me? They're Egyptian American, and then you have the government, and you have all these entities that want them sentenced to death. These bitches will drop you in a heartbeat. Okay? And do you hear the saying, "I'd drop you in a heartbeat"? They dropped Dr. Georgie in a heartbeat, and Florence Joyner Jr. in a heartbeat, and they dropped Bernadette in a heartbeat, and they dropped D'Lo. I mean, not D'Lo. What's his name? Daniel Atkins in a heartbeat. They get, and I'm more than just that. These things are not just sayings. This is legit what's happening. They're murdering them with this weapon. So I want to make that very clear. There are Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists talking inside of my head. I want those bitches to die. They're terrorists talking inside my head saying they're going to murder me, murder my kids barbarically. They're going to drop them in a heartbeat, give them a heart attack, using this weapon, so on and so forth. Like, and then one last thing. What I find funny is, like, these bitches want me to commit suicide before I, like, just in case, diabetes is really a thing. I don't even know if you can actually get diabetes now. I don't even know if that's a thing, or cancer, but let's say that you can. It's like they want me to die before I have any condition that I can provide, like, scanned images of, right? Like, if I were to have memory loss, and I would have, I have Alzheimer's and the gray matter, you start taking images of my brain, and you can see that the gray matter is increasing or decreasing, like the form of your brain is, the structure of your brain is changing. Like, they want me to die before all of that, because they're just like, so they don't want the government to have any reason, like no medical or criminal reason, to have access to these weapons, to say, oh, there was acts of crime, or for medical purposes we need these records. So they are, like, desperately trying to get their victims, me and several others, to kill themselves, like, beforehand, and just keep them in this little path, and keep them away. And they want them looking disgusting, so doctors don't want to work on them, so that police officers don't want to come near them. I swear. Like, that homeless community, the bitches talking in my head are, them and their organization are responsible for that shit. I want them to fucking die. I want the bitches talking in my head to fucking die. You hear me? He said, if you're sentencing us to death, you and your family you're all gonna die with us, and you're gonna die fucking miserable. That's what he's saying. I don't give a fuck. The fuck? Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him. I already know what the government wants to do. Like, look how hard what's going on with Israel and Palestine. This piece of shit thinks he's gonna say what to who? To me? Yeah, right. They'll rip that piece of shit's heart out. They said it. I'll eat your heart out like Jeffrey Dahmer. Or something like that. I hear it all the time in their rap songs. They're ready to eat these bitches alive. So anyways, gotta go. Have a great day.